Marie-Noelle, bienvenue at the Leaders Who Care series.
Thank you very much, Mark.
I got to practice my French because I don't speak it often enough, but we'll do that another time because no one will understand what we're talking about. No, it's great to have you on this. And as they say, a lot of people, including myself, know that you truly are a leader who cares. But now we're going to show more people why you are a leader who cares. Best way to start, as always, in these things is if you can briefly introduce yourself, and I have to do an asterisk beside that, especially for men, because when I ask this for men, they tell me their title and what they do, which is not the question generally. But tell me a little bit about where you're from originally, where you are now, what you feel comfortable talking about your family. Um, Maybe there's something you've never told anybody ever, and you want to reveal to the world now. That's always fun, also. But a little bit about you.
Yeah, so as you said, I'm Marie-Noelle Keijzer. I'm going to repeat it because the name is a little complicated. You can see a mix of French and Dutch in it because I was born in the Netherlands. Then I grew up in France, and actually now I became Belgian. So this is typical of Europe, where actually it doesn't make any difference. We're just Europeans. And that's what I like about Europe, by the way.
Me
And
too.
so I have I have a corporate background for many decades. I'm not going to tell you how many. And then I decided when I turned 40 to do something different.
Okay,
So I
I'm gonna
totally
pause you. I'm gonna
changed.
pause you for one
Yeah.
second. So we'll get into that. Tell me about so do you have a family? Do you have
I mean, okay,
siblings?
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a son who is 25 years old. I'm married to a Belgian. That's why I went to Belgium actually and live in Brussels. But actually, right now I'm in the southwest of France because we bought a farm in the middle of nowhere, halfway between Toulouse and Pau, for anybody who knows the southwest of France. And I see the mountains with snow in front of me, even if it's super warm today. So it's just beautiful. It's in the middle of nowhere. And that's what I love because when you
Unbelievable.
live in Brussels or you go to Paris a lot, it's very crowded. I love being away in nature. That gives me a lot of energy.
I love
And
that. So we can have a
what else?
whole Leaders Who Care meeting over at your farm.
Yes, yes, of course. That'd be super. We have space. I think we can host 12 people or something. So it'd be fine.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm quite fanatic about nature and running in nature. I treat myself every day with a 4 kilometer, like 2.5 miles every day, no matter what. If it rains, if it snows, whatever, I go. It really has to be bad for me not to go. And that gives me the energy for the whole day. That's just like my thing. Once I've done that for myself, everything else I can do for others. That's like protecting myself and being there then for the others the rest of the day.
Isn't it awesome for, aside from physical, for mental health?
Oh, totally. Because when you spend the whole day behind your computer thinking, writing, talking, you need to go and actually you need to go out in nature. And when I do that, I come up with the craziest ideas. Like I'm super concentrated and come up with ideas that I didn't come up with behind my computer. So it's a moment actually of creation because you're relaxed, you're not under stress, you don't have any constraints, and that's what nature enables. So that's and this habit of running every day, I got it. I started it when I was 17, when I was an exchange student in California and San Diego.
Ah.
I lived with a family that was crazy about running, which was something new because at that time, many years ago, nobody did that. It was super weird. And I did that, and I came back to France, and everybody looked at me. What is she running after? Because weren't used to seeing people running on the street. So
Or what are they
that's
running
where
away
it
from?
started.
Or what
Exactly.
are,
That's where it
um,
started.
it got more weird when you'd see people running or walking fast talking because you didn't know that they had something in their ear and who were they talking to? So until people realize, oh, they've got the thing in their
Yeah.
ear. I can totally relate to that because I do a fast walk and sprinting and whatnot, especially early morning. It's on the weekends, and then I do stuff in the afternoons during the weekend. My favorite thing is I don't know if I should really list in public, but there's a tree that I end my thing with that I talk to or meditate at or whatever you want to call it. And the energy is amazing. But even more fun is I know more dog names than I know people names when I go all over the place, and
Yeah.
and they're lovely. And if they want to introduce me to their human, they decide if they want to introduce me to the human or not. So
Yeah.
so do you run?
I take my dog sometimes, but sometimes I feel like when I run with him, I always have to run for him because I'm going to chase him and he stops every 5 meters. So I can't really run. So some days I decide to just go for myself, right? Because, yeah, he's a little bit stubborn and he just does his own thing.
Well, one of the coolest feelings, if you have a big enough space to do it, is watching the dog run in full speed. It's almost a freeing feeling
Yeah.
for yourself when you watch that because you can tell they're in their glory, just running. And a horse too, for
We
that
were
matter.
at the beach. We were at the beach a few days ago in southwest of France, and because the weather was bad, nobody was on the beach, so you were allowed to go with dogs, and they were like 10 dogs there, and they were running and playing, like indeed, as you say, just crazy and jumping in the water, just beautiful.
Like
Yeah,
little kids, right?
inspiring as well.
Yeah, like little
Yes.
kids. I know. That's too cool. Do you have brothers, sisters?
Yes, we are five. I have three brothers and one sister, so I'm the second one.
Hmm.
And always yeah, like I'm the oldest, always taking care of everybody, giving them health advice. That's my thing in life as well. I love to focus on health, so not just mental health by doing sports but also physical health, eat good things, and that's how I live. It's just me. Everybody knows me for that. I read a lot of stuff about food and healthy food, and I'm
Well,
the advisor of my family and of my friends.
so when you were a kid, not that long ago, when you were a kid, what was life like? What were you like when you were you also into nature then? Were you into dolls, into trucks, into lemonade stands? What were you doing?
Yeah, I mean, my family is a family of migrants from the Netherlands. My parents started a company in the Netherlands, then they went bankrupt, so they were left in difficult conditions to start a new life in France with no money. And as I said, we were five. We were not five when I was very little, but quickly we were five, and times were difficult, little money. So yeah, we had no very little toys. We still were playing, but with grass and stones and wood, and just in the
Right.
middle of nowhere where we would be living. It was a very sober youth, like really nothing crazy. We went on vacation once. Like really the basics were there, but that's it. And from culture, visits and culture in general, it was very poor. I remember I received the first book when I was like 10 or something. So, yeah, a lot of things to catch up later on. And but we can't say we were unhappy. We were taken care of. It
Hmm.
was just the way it was. When parents don't have time and don't have money, you
Right.
just sort and makes you stronger. And actually, very often I think of this as a blessing, because when I was 14 and my brother was 15, we both wanted to buy jeans because that was very modern back then. Like people were seeing jeans from the US, everybody wanted that.
Sure.
There's no way my parents would have bought that for us. So we went working every, weekend, and when evenings we went to work and clean in a little plant. You say that like a nursery where they
Hmm.
grew whatever roses and stuff. We had to weed. So that's what we were doing. Imagine 14 and 15, which today probably be illegal. We did that and we saved money, and I bought my first pair of jeans, super proud of it. And eventually you learn that if you want something, you do it, you get it, but like it's all on you. And it makes you very strong. So
Right.
actually I'm thankful for that, because I see the current generation of kids, well, very often they have it more easily, even our son. And it's maybe not a gift for him. It's better to go and get it yourself. It really makes you resilient.
Yeah, it's so interesting you bring that up. I had this conversation before too. So we weren't poor, but we were whatever middle class minus, I guess, type of thing. never had a home or anything like that, but we did play, and it was different times. We had to be more creative to play with stuff like you said, rocks and sticks and whatever. We had to be creative to do stuff, and there's something to that versus what's going on now.
Yeah. And there was the neighbor had a well, and for some reason it was full of not trash, but like cans and bottles of empty soap and stuff. And we would find that like a treasure. We'd dig in that well, and that would be our toys for the following weeks. And so that's yeah, that's what I remember from the youth with my brother over there.
Yeah, and we were outside all the
Yeah,
time.
outside all the time. Yeah,
Something to be said for that
walk.
too,
Yeah,
for sure.
walking to school, like probably a good mile. Even very small, we were walking to school, and people along the road, the neighbors were supposed to keep an eye on us, whether we were really walking or playing.
But think about it for a minute. It's social interaction, it's community, it's learning how to all
Yeah,
that. There's so many basic,
yeah,
super valuable
yeah,
things from it, even though we didn't necessarily think it at the time, but we enjoyed it. We didn't wear helmets with our bicycles or anything like that. No one thought of that. And
yeah, yeah.
it's kind of fascinating that you wouldn't necessarily want it to be that way, but maybe you kind of do want it to be somewhat that way.
Yes, yeah, yeah, indeed.
How, how did you evolve then into some of the significant education that you were able to achieve after that? And why did you go,
Yeah,
how did you go that route and why did you go that route?
yeah.
What made you pick what you studied?
Well, I first realized that I wanted a different life than my parents had, and I had to fight for it. And so I was studying hard. I was not the best in class, but I was doing what was needed. I was very disciplined, very obedient, very nice, everything, to just make it work. Somehow a survival tactic, right? You just don't mess around when you don't have a plan B. Just go
Right.
for plan A.
Yeah, well,
And so I
there's
did that.
something to be said for focus, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then when I think I was 16, I was sitting in this class, and there's this girl who shows up, and she says, "You know what? There's an organization called AFS, American Field Service, which is an organization that started just after the war to keep contacts between Americans and Europeans and do exchanges with the kids.
Hmm.
Well, there's this organization, and she went to Alaska and she loved it, and she shared her experience. And I said to my neighbor in the class, I'm going to go. So at that moment, I decided I was going to go and I was going to make a big difference. I felt it. And so I applied, obviously, had no money, but because my parents didn't have money, we got a grant and I got accepted. I passed all the tests and got accepted. And this is where I ended up in San Diego in Southern California
Wow.
with my American family, with whom I'm still in touch every single day ever since.
Wow.
It's really my second family. And that experience changed me. First, the decision that I was going to go and take care of my life. At that time, there was no Skype, no WhatsApp, no emails, nothing. So you're out there by yourself for a year, received a couple of letters. That's all. So you're by yourself. You start a new life with people you don't know. Yes, you have an organization that is there if there's something happens, but it's very different from the today travels that you
Yeah.
do because now every 5 minutes you can speak to your kid on WhatsApp, right?
Right.
You
Exactly.
didn't. So you grow up. You grow up in that moment. And then I discovered a world that I had no idea about, the sports I just mentioned, culture, um, health food, all the things that we didn't know. So that was totally overwhelming for me. So many new things, and I absorbed everything. And so when I came home, I was a different person, which wasn't very easy to accommodate back in the family.
I bet.
But that's who I was. I was a new person, and
Did the
this is
family you
where I got
stayed,
my energy.
sorry to interrupt, did the family you stayed with, did they have kids too?
Yes, they had a girl, Anna, who lives in Berkeley now, and she was like 10 years younger than me. So it was my little sister. and he was a biology teacher, winning the best prize of California several years in a row.
Mm.
So she was also a teacher, so very educated, interesting. Every weekend we'd go on field trips, we'd go camp in the desert, go to Mexico, just crazy, like things that never, you see the difference. And so that was like amazing. And yeah, when I came back, I had all those ideas, and I, I I did my studies. I studied languages because I'm passionate about languages. I speak 7 languages fluently and a few others a little bit. And it's just like, because I love speaking to people, I love learning, and I feel like can't have a language in the way, right? So that's a little bit how I got to that. And when you have 2 languages, then the third one is easy and the fourth is easier. So that's the way it
Unless
goes.
it's Chinese or Japanese. My son
Yes,
is dating a Japanese girl. It's one thing to learn another language with the same letters. It's another thing to
I
learn
totally agree. Yeah, yeah,
artistry of
yeah,
letters.
yeah. Yeah, I know some Russian, and that's okay. But indeed, you're right. Arabic or Chinese would be a different thing, and that's not. I only have like conventional European languages if you want, like
Right.
Portuguese, Italian, Spanish, French, and all that. Yeah,
Well, I love the story, which is why I asked this about how things happen like that. So, they had an impact on you. Obviously, you, I'm sure, had an impact on them and their daughter as well, which is great. And it just no borders, no borders in
yeah,
these types
yeah,
of things. It's just
yeah,
people, and how great for them to bring in someone they don't know into their house
yeah,
with a kid that
yeah,
they have, and how's that going to happen with
yeah,
bringing in someone older than your
yeah,
own daughter, and all those things that I'm sure were
yeah.
thought of.
Well,
Um,
This
pretty cool.
family, uh, this family, Chuck and Janet, they are quite exceptional because they were teachers. They had long holidays in the summer.
Right.
So every summer, they didn't have much money, but they had a lot of time. So they went to to France before meeting me already. They went to France and they would bike across France with their kid on the back and their tent and everything. Low budget. They went everywhere. They know every single village. They remember everything they've eaten. They've got photos of everything. And so when they would arrive in a place where nobody ever comes, people would welcome them like in 19, after the war. Like the Americans are here, and they'd have a big party time in that
all
village. It was amazing.
the Americans are
So
here,
they've got
all three of them, and they're on bikes.
so they have so many amazing stories about France, and
Well,
that
isn't
brought
that
us
what
together.
that's rich? That's what being rich is about.
Yeah, that's being rich. Yeah, totally. And I'm so blessed to have them in my life.
And then what happened? You went corporate.
Then I did my studies at university in France.
Hmm.
Then I decided I wanted to learn Spanish. So I thought, oh, I could go to Ecuador because I had a friend there, and I went to Ecuador. So I stayed 4 years in Ecuador and learned Spanish and was a teacher there and just lived on teacher's salary, which is nothing in Ecuador.
Yeah,
Again, different experience, different world, difficult world,
yeah,
very difficult. Uh, that's poverty. Like we talk about poverty. Wow,
yeah,
you see, as a teacher, also, I remember I was earning, I was a teacher, I was earning the equivalent of a bottle of milk per hour. So you stay very poor, even you're a teacher.
yeah.
So how do you get out of that situation, right? So I did that for 4 years. And then I decided to finish my studies in Spain. I did an MBA in Spain and then started working in a French company in Spain. And then they brought me to the headquarters in Paris. And then my corporate career went fast. Like then, for some reason, I found amazing people who trusted me. And after a few years, I became the head of global logistics for a big French company called Moulinex, who does
Sure.
crooks. You probably know Moulinex in Canada. Yeah.
So why do you say for
In the
some
US,
reason? Why do you say for some reason they trusted you?
yeah, I guess they trusted me. And it was amazing. I just enjoyed it. I loved everything. I was in charge of big teams of all the factories around the world and did the planning, did the logistics. Very
Did you
nice.
enjoy it?
I did enjoy. I loved it. And then I met my husband, who was actually living in Belgium, had children. He was divorced, And then my choice was, if I want to be with him, I've got to move to Belgium because his children are in Belgium. So I quit that job that I loved to be with him in Belgium and found a new job with an American company based in Milwaukee, Rockwell Automation. So that was great as well, a new experience. It was
Hmm.
good. And I did that for many years. I loved it. And same thing, met great people, learn also the way American companies work. It was very different from French companies. I love the structure. That's what I bring now with what I do is the discipline, the rigor in the way you work in large American corporates. Yeah. And
And where
so I
was
did that.
so
Uh,
what was
yeah,
the turning point, or during your corporate world, which we kind of all have at some point?
yeah.
Were there any inflection points? Were there any like little things that happened that made you starting to think about going back, if you go back to nature type of deal?
Yeah, yeah. Well, one thing happened. In 2006, I saw the Al Gore Inconvenient Truth,
Hmm.
and that messed all the plans up. Because I like when I saw that, and it was really like I've got to do something about it. I mean, that's the way I operate as well. Is that when you have a problem, you do something about it. So I had no choice, and so I decided to do something for nature. But obviously, I had no credibility. I had no background on that. So I decided during my corporate uh, activity to take night classes and do a master's in environmental science. So I went evenings and Saturdays to the university in Brussels. I had done an MBA 20 years ago. Then I did a master's in environmental science because I thought if I'm going to do something, I better know something about it, right? So
Usually a
that's
good,
what I
usually a
did.
good plan.
Good plan. So then I graduated, and then the company wanted me in Milwaukee. I didn't want to go to Milwaukee, so then we stopped. I mean, I stopped working for them. And that's when I was thinking, okay, now I have this degree, this master's in environmental science. What am I going to do with it? Difficult choice because you go to WWF or those big NGOs, and yeah, they wanted to hire me like immediately. But
Hmm.
imagine with my track record of all the things I'd done, I would be account manager sitting at a desk for a big NGO. I mean, I wasn't going to do it. I didn't know what to do, but I just knew that wasn't right.
Right.
And so I always listen to the messages people give me or the world gives me, always. Because for a reason, people say something. So a friend said, "You got to go to Amsterdam, meet this guy." I said, "Okay, I'm going." I didn't know really what he did, but I went. And here he was. I was Bill Liao, who is now my co founder. He's an Australian entrepreneur with a Chinese father who now lives in Ireland.
Oh my
And
God.
he's passionate about nature, passionate about trees, passionate about science. And he'd worked with scientists back then, that was almost 20 years ago, who studied trees and their potential to reverse climate global warming, to restore the water cycle, the carbon cycle, and everything. That was quite new back then. I mean, scientists knew, but big population in general didn't know. So he'd worked with the scientists. He'd also worked with Stephen Fry, the British actor, to create a video. And he was featuring that video in Amsterdam. And I saw that and I said, oh, this is what I'm going to do. So I went to see him because my friend had said, this guy is looking for a CEO. Okay. So I went to see him and said, Bill, I, I everything I've done in my life is to prepare me for this. I'm your CEO. He looked at me. We hugged. I mean, obviously, he'd already known from the network where I was and stuff, and checked me out. We hugged, and that's how we started. And a week later, we were at a COP in Copenhagen, talking to Gordon Brown and other people who were negotiating climate topics. That's what happened, and that was the start of WeForest, 2010, and here we are, 15, 16 years later, with the biggest Belgian NGO doing reforestation.
So that's why I love going through the journey a little bit, because
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
reasons that those things happen. If you
yeah,
wouldn't have had some of that experience and you wouldn't have necessarily been as confident to even say what you said, potentially. And it just you built a foundation to when you got to that point. It was right, and even your experiences as a little kid in nature and being
Yeah,
creative and there's something there that stayed along the way too. To
yeah,
if you have a problem, you figure it out type of thing, like you said.
yeah,
You went into the well and you got stuff to play with or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Things of that
But
nature.
I want to thank you, Mark, for asking those questions because I haven't thought about those things for decades. So you bring that up, and that's really a talent. Thank you.
No, my pleasure. I turned down my dream job with a pro hockey team to be an executive director with a global nonprofit at way less money. And the only person that told me to take that job, yeah, I didn't even think it was a good career move, was the person that offered me my dream job initially. And so things happen for a reason. But you got to build. It doesn't just happen automatically. You got to build up to it, and then
Yeah,
it's the right time. So talk about um, talk about why what you do is important, why trees are important, what you've planted millions of trees that are making an
yeah,
impact. And I'm not an expert in trees, but what I do know is I love trees, and I do know that the way they communicate and they engage with mushrooms underground in the whole community just blows my mind just thinking about that. Share what you do, why you do it, and tell us all about it.
yeah, yeah. Great. So my team has planted and is growing 110 million trees, which covers 100,000 hectares, which is the surface of Greater London, if you want, just to give people an idea.
Um,
That's what we've done in the last 15 years. And we got 110 people working at WeForest. Most of them are on the ground in Africa, working with local communities.
mhm.
So about the trees, why are trees so important? I mean, everybody loves trees because they're beautiful, they're everything. But really scientifically, it's so important to know that they are probably the only and best solution to most of the challenges we have today. This is quite a statement. I mean, look at the challenges. We've got global warming. We've got the unbalance in the water cycle where you have no water and then bombs of water and
Right,
flooding and droughts, right? And fires is a consequence of that imbalance
right,
because you got too much vegetation in Los Angeles, then all that vegetation dries and it burns. So that's one thing. In the countries where we work, in the tropics, people are extremely poor. Talking about $1 a day, it's for the whole family. It's not per person, right?
right,
Imagine just for a second. And then you have, yeah, droughts, and you have all kind of plagues and problems that people cultivate their garden, and then all of a sudden they don't have any food. That's what happens there. So the work we do with those communities is benefiting those communities in those regions is benefiting those communities in two ways. First, the work we do, we pay them to work with us. Actually, three ways. We pay them to work with us. They receive support for livelihoods so that they don't have in future to cut the trees to survive or to cook. They have other income. They can have better protein as well. They can sell eggs, they can sell chicken. So that's the livelihoods part that we do. And the third one, it brings water back. It balances because these people need water because, for example, Ethiopia is becoming a desert. The northern part of
right.
Ethiopia is threatened, like the Sahel in the north is threatening that. So for all these reasons, it is super critical that we plant and protect tropical forests. I mean, all forests are important, but most important are the tropical forests. So the other aspect is biodiversity. Forests host 80% of global biodiversity. And there's, I don't know how many thousands of species that are disappearing.
Right.
What a responsibility towards future generations that we will have killed so many species. It's just totally irresponsible. So, for all these reasons, we have to grow and protect the forests. That's so important. I cannot say that enough. And unfortunately, we're still losing ground. Like every year, we are still cutting and burning and destroying more than what people like us restore. So we're losing ground. And this is dramatic. It's still possible to reverse, but there's not much time left because we will come in a situation where global warming will be so exacerbated, so strong, that forests won't even grow where it's supposed to grow. It will cost a lot of energy to grow any forest. So that's the risk that we have. We can still do something about it, but it has to happen now.
Yeah, it's there was a movie, was it Look Up or something? It was called Up
Oh,
or Look Up.
yes. Don't look
And
up.
yeah, and it was an amazing movie because they showed they got to talk to the president who happened to be a woman. And she said, "Well, let's talk in 3 weeks. I'm busy with whatever." And they said, "There's no
Meryl
time."
Streep, right? Was it
Right.
Meryl Streep?
Yeah, it's crazy,
Yeah,
and but it's
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
scarily true.
yeah.
Imagine if
You
one
know what's in,
person, if each person in the world planted a tree, each person.
you read my mind. That's exactly the thing is if every person planted a tree, that's what they do in India. Somebody, a child is born, they plant a tree. That's one thing. But also everything we purchase, if there was like, for example, you buy an iPhone, you buy whatever, trees are embedded in that. It doesn't make a big difference in price because when you work in countries like we work in the tropics, a tree is $1. But it's not just the tree, is the tree protected with all the livelihoods that go with it? So it's nothing. So imagine we've done that. I mean, my NGO, WeForest, we've worked with 500 corporates, including Nike and other big brands global. And we've done that campaigns for employees, campaigns with clients. I've got a partner in the Netherlands, which is a brand of home appliance. Their name is Brabants. Yeah, listen to that as a this is such a great example. They sell a kind of products. One product is the dryer that you put in the garden to dry your clothes. You know, this thing. It actually looks like a tree a little bit because you put like green socks on it. It looks like a tree. But anyway, 10 years ago or 12 years ago almost, we started together a campaign. For every rotary dryer they were selling, they were planting a tree. Guess how many trees they've already planted with us? Like over 3 million. And guess what? We've done the business model with them. It grew their business. There was plenty of competition in the stores because China was making them much cheaper. They're making quality and making it in Europe, and they plant a tree with us, which is showing on the packaging. And this is how people actually chose to pay a little more and get that quality product with trees in it. That's an amazing example. So my invitation is every company and every consumer should be looking at having trees in everything we do. It resolve the problem at no time. There's plenty of organizations like us who need funding, and funding is always the problem. So
Yeah.
there's millions of ways. If anybody wants ideas, just ask me. I mean, whether it's for us or anybody, right? You see what I mean? Like we
Well,
have so many
I'm
ideas.
sure you've thought of it, but I mean, every kid in school, they can have their own tree. I know, I know even for like there's a program in Israel. Every time somebody passes away or is born, the people plant a tree, like you said before. But imagine if every kid in school gets to identify with their tree type of deal.
Yeah,
There's so
yeah,
many
yeah,
things, and it's unfortunate there's so much competition for people's attention. Um,
yeah. Too many causes that are needing support. Yeah,
yeah,
I get
and
that.
no matter how important it is, and we're kind of in a world where I have to wait that long to see the tree, because you don't when you plant a tree, you don't necessarily see it yet, and you have to have some
That's
vision
true.
and some, and then your kids will see if you plant a tree now and you just having a
Yeah,
baby and maybe you plant a
yeah,
tree for that baby, and then 20 years from now that's that kid's. I mean,
yeah.
um,
But
yeah,
as important, Mark, is protecting the trees because
right.
we like to plant and to see a tree grow, but protecting a tree that has been there for 50 or 100 years or much more is so valuable. And this is super important as a consumer. We need to see where does the product, this table that I bought, is it hardwood, is it FSC certified or not? Is it cutting trees in tropical countries? I think we have a responsibility because protecting what we have is almost more important than planting new trees.
Yeah, it makes sense. A crazy story. My sons are and my bonus daughter from Denmark are very much into environment and stuff like that too. And my son, there's a tree in front of his. He lives in an apartment. There's a tree in front of him, and then squirrels would go up and the squirrels became friendly and would come into his house and he'd give them food. And he has a bird, and the bird was friends with the squirrels. It was crazy what he was doing, and the squirrels were super nice to them and everything. And he came home one day and the tree was cut. And he still doesn't know why they cut the tree. And the squirrels are down below looking up, wondering why they can't get up there to their
Oh,
to their friend and everything. And he was
oh,
heartbroken.
terrible.
And he's an adult.
Yeah,
He's not 12. He's like late
yeah.
20s. And he was heartbroken and heartbroken for the squirrels. And it's just a crazy story, but
You should make a little animation out of that because that touches everybody's heart.
yeah, and that's what we
Yeah,
need to do.
yeah,
We need to make people feel about it
yeah,
that it's
yeah.
important. My favorite quote in the world is Maya Angelou quote. I don't know if you know her, but she said, "Most people forget what you've said, they'll forget what you've done, but they'll always remember how you made them feel."
Yeah,
And that's what we got to do is tell that story.
yeah,
What's the future for what you're doing? Where are you now? Where do you see you going? And what do
yeah,
people need to know so they could help?
yeah. That's a great question, Mark. Well, we have reached a point where we are blessed because we receive all kind of prizes. We are going to be receiving a UN prize for being one of the 8 best projects in the world.
Wow, way to go.
Later
That's
this year,
awesome.
can't disclose too much, but like it's gonna come. We are receiving some European funding because of the quality of the work, so that can help scale. We are, again, with a good buffer, a good group of corporate partners who stay with us and support us in the long run. So that's wonderful. Yet I feel like just continuing to do what we do is great. But if we don't scale, we're missing something because we have a responsibility to use all the lessons we've learned and to leverage all the partnerships we've developed. We have a responsibility to scale our impact because
Hmm.
there's so many needs. And we also have a responsibility to share with others so they can copy us. And for that, we need philanthropic funding. So we have institutional funding from the EU, we have corporate funding, we have investors in some of our projects. We need philanthropic funders to help us scale and help others replicate. So that's really what is needed today.
Well, we'll get the message
And
out and
yeah,
and maybe we'll even do it through our monthly calls and stuff like that. Let me ask you one last question. Because in Los Angeles we joke around, we say we got to leave them wanting more so we can do a sequel. That's what you do in the film industry.
you see today, yes, indeed.
With everything you've accomplished and gone through and all of that, COVID in 2020 and you name it, everything that we've on and what's going on in the world right now, what are you most grateful for and what are you most hopeful for?
Well, I'm very grateful for having chosen a career path where I can be connected to the best people in the world and the best of people. The people who come to us, they care, leaders who care. They, they listen, they want to do something, and that's a blessing every day to be so privileged to speak to incredible people like just us now. I don't think everybody in their daily work have that privilege. And so
Right.
I'm blessed every day. And same with my colleagues. I have an incredible group of colleagues who are totally passionate about what we do. That's a blessing.
And what are you most hopeful for?
But I'm hopeful that people will hear the urgency to act, that we can't take anything for granted. One day, all the good things that we have won't be here anymore and it will be
Right.
too late. The difficulty is it's very difficult when you are telling bad news. People walk away and don't want to hear because nobody wants to hear bad news. So that we find a way, I'm hopeful we find a way to deliver real truth and the news without depressing people and making them still hopeful that there is a way. And that's what I'm testing every day. and it's
I
it's not the
bet.
easiest job.
I bet
Yeah.
you, it's the old story really quick of, well, we don't need a stop sign in our town until the little girl gets hit on that corner. And then they say, oh, wait,
Yes.
maybe we do
Yes.
need a stop sign type of
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
I'm grateful and hopeful actually for the same thing. Well, I'm grateful that I have a new friend, which is you. So that's what I'm grateful for, and what you do. And I'm hopeful for the same reason because you are clearly a leader who cares, and I appreciate you sharing the story. And we'll get it out, and hopefully more people will be able to be engaged one way or another. They can be different ways they can be engaged with you. So thanks for all that, and thanks for being on the Leaders Who Care series.
Thank you, Mark. It was a pleasure.